Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live. A nice early start on this Saturday as Chelsea travel to the London Stadium for a London derby. Bragging rights and Premier League points up for grabs as Chelsea take on West Ham United. In a little bit later on, I'm going to be joined in the studio by Kwaku and Sam. And also, right now, let's get straight to it. The main man, Mr. Lee Parker's at the London Stadium for us. Good afternoon, Lee. How are you, mate?
Still good morning, Joe, isn't it? It's a difficult one, isn't it? I'm still getting used to it myself. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I always do this as well because obviously the game starts in the afternoon and I feel like I'm already in match mode. I'm focused, I'm game zone, I'm ready for it. Team news is obviously very, very important. So let's get straight to it, mate. What are the headlines for us?
Well, it is. There are plenty of headlines as well. It's great to see Ruben Loftus-Cheek back in the team. His first start since before the World Cup up at Newcastle in November. So the team is, we have Kerr in goal. It's a back four of Reece James, Thiago Silva, Benoit, Badiashile and Marc Cucurella. We're expecting Enzo to be alongside Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the two holding roles in midfield. Then it's João Felix back in the team. Noni Madueke with his first start for Chelsea. Mudryk behind Havertz as well. So I don't know about you, Joe. A lot of pace, a very attacking-looking team, and frightening amount of pace in that front four. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, mate. And I think if you're asking any Chelsea fan, you could probably have picked 6 different 11s for people that players want to see and etc. and the kind of matchups and partnerships you want to start to build and start to progress. But that front four of Kai Havertz, Mykhailo Mudryk, João Felix and Noni Madueke is a very, very exciting one. Out of all of those, obviously, João Felix has had his debut. First start for Noni Madueke. Is he the one perhaps that we're most excited to see because we haven't seen him from the start of a game just yet?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, Joe. I think he looks really sharp, really exciting in training. I've had the privilege to watch him in action down at Cobham over the last few days. He is so quick. Just to see him flying down the flank and cutting in, we would expect him to obviously cut in from the left on that right foot as well. But João Felix too, I mean, it was such an interesting and exciting cameo from him, wasn't it? So to see him starting once again, and we already saw glimpses, didn't we, of that link up with himself and Kai Havertz. So plenty of options, and it is exciting. And you'd like to think that this is the perfect opportunity for the four of them, well, the whole team, but the four up top especially, to start showcasing their talents. And the run-in from now, Joe, as we were saying off camera, is crazy. This week, it feels like it's the cliched big week, isn't it? And in Champions League midweek with the trip to Dortmund and then Southampton at home next weekend. So plenty of opportunity for these guys. Absolutely,
and I was going to ask you about that because obviously Borussia Dortmund midweek is one of those sort of iconic stadiums that you go to. European football, a big away fixture like that is going to be a test. But I suppose that's the important thing today is obviously Noni Madueke and Benoit Badiashile can't play in the Champions League in midweek, but it's also an opportunity for players that perhaps are getting an opportunity today to say, well, hang on a minute, when we come in 7 days' time, we've got Southampton. If I put in a good performance today, I'll get a rest in midweek almost, and my name should sort of still stand in time and start next weekend.
Yeah, really good point. I think defensively, there's obviously lots of options and some questions going into that game midweek. What does Graham Potter do? Because like you rightly say, Badiashile unavailable. I mean, we've got Aspi on the bench today, Trevor Chalobah on the bench as well. So no Kalidou Koulibaly, so he could well come back in as well. There are options, and much is talked about in the wider press at the size of this squad. It's a blessing and a curse, isn't it, for the manager? Because so many options there available to him. And it's a case of just trying to find the right balance, the right blend, game by game.
And also, I can just peer over your shoulder on the left-hand side. I've caught a glimpse of Joe Cole and Gianfranco Zola. If you're looking at sort of neat, tricky players that are going to get Chelsea fans off their seat, João Felix is definitely one of those. You've already mentioned the link-up between him and Kai Havertz. But how key is that going to be? Because you've got 2 world-class players there that have got everything in front of them, still so young. If we can get a partnership working between those two early, the running is going to be an absolute dream, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. That link-up is key. And it's been also so important for Graham Potter to have extra time on the training pitch between these games as well. The rarity of a clear week to look at different formations, look at different partnerships, look at some of that link-up work that you alluded to as well, Joe. But the time will tell, obviously, when the game kicks off here at the London Stadium to see what they can produce. But honestly, it is very, very exciting. I'm struggling to think of a time as a Chelsea fan that, has brought so much excitement. I mean, that is the thing. There are so many options out here, so much young talent for the fans to enjoy, and it's certainly going to be an exciting run into the end of the season.
completely agree. There's another thing as well, and it feels strange to say it because I don't think it's ever been spoken about before, but we're looking at Ruben Loftus-Cheek as one of the most experienced players within the dressing room now, especially in the team that starts today. You're used to Ruben being the sort of the young prodigy, whereas now he's going to have a slightly different role, isn't he? Especially alongside Enzo if it's a two. You know, he's 27, he's been at Chelsea a long time now, he knows the club inside out. There's enough managers that have shown trust in him over the years, been desperately unlucky with injuries, which we know of, but how important is it for him to get back on the pitch today, and also for Chelsea to have Ruben Loftus-Cheek as an option for the busy period we've got coming up?
100% agree, Joe. It's a fantastic opportunity and so good to have him back fit and available. He offers something that very few players can offer. If you go all the way back to his academy days, Joe, he often played as a 6 or an 8. So he was that marauding, if you like, archetypal box-to-box midfielder. We saw so many big performances, whether it be in the FA Youth Cup or the UEFA Youth League, where he would make those lung-busting runs from box to box, breaking lines, creating chances. And this is another opportunity for him. And it's something that we've spoken about, actually, with Ruben in the recent past, where he said he's played in so many different positions for different managers, and different managers maybe see different qualities in Ruben. So it'll be really interesting to see what he does today alongside Enzo. He'll have a very different role again, but it's, again, a fantastic opportunity. And it is strange to say that he is, you're absolutely right, one of the most experienced members of this squad now. And, you know, call me biased, but he is one of those players that you are always just desperate to see do something special, because he is such a lovely lad and his story is incredible. You know, growing up, coming up through the academy, and as you rightly said, Joe, a couple of moments ago, he's had to overcome so many injury hurdles as well, and you just want him to stay fit, have a good run in the team, and really show the manager what he can do.
I completely agree, and it's a cliche, and I think I say it every time I talk about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But if you're building the perfect footballer, you build Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a player that's strong, that's powerful, that's intelligent on the ball, great with both feet, quick, agile. He's got absolutely everything, and yeah, I'm delighted, and every Chelsea fan is absolutely delighted that he's back fit and playing. And also delighted to have you on the show, mate. Thank you very much for brilliant work as usual. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up with you in a bit.
That was a pleasure.
The brilliant Lee Parker. Thank you very much to him for getting involved. Lots coming on the show today, obviously building up to Chelsea versus West Ham. Early kick-off in the Premier League, 12:30. We'll have live commentary for you right here on the Fifth Stand Up. We've got plenty coming up as well. Quaker and Sam are going to be having a little bit of a chat about Chelsea and West Ham and the similarities and the relationship between the two clubs over the years. And also, very soon, we're going to be hearing from one of Chelsea's newest recruits, David Datro Fofana. So stay tuned for all of that, and we'll see you in a minute.
A month ago today, you joined Chelsea. How much have you loved it so far?
Ah ouais, ça fait un mois que je suis ici. Je peux dire que j'aime bien l'ambiance avec les gars et mes coéquipiers, les coachs, tout le monde. Je peux dire que je suis très, très, très heureux, très, très content d'être ici, de réaliser mon rêve. Très heureux d'être ici et voilà quoi, c'est un peu ça.
Premier League debut against Fulham on Friday. How good did that feel?
Quand je suis rentré sur le terrain là, je me suis senti très bien. Hein. Ouais, c'était un moment inoubliable parce que j'attendais ça depuis un moment, mais quand j'ai mis le pied sur le terrain, je me sentais un peu... Il y avait un peu d'émotion quoi, il y avait un peu d'émotion, de joie, de tout quoi, c'est un peu ça. Je me sentais très heureux de faire mes débuts et voilà. Ouais.
Just finally, it's
yes,
a moment of reflection, proud moment. What was going through your head at the time?
En vrai, c'était le rêve de jouer en Premier League. Et quand le coach m'a donné la chance de faire mes débuts, en vrai, le but c'était tu connais, pour ça qu'ils m'ont envoyé de marquer et de faire avancer l'équipe. C'était ça, en fait, ce qui est dans la tête maintenant. Voilà.
Love that. David Datro Fofana speaking at Cobham last couple of days. One of Chelsea's newest recruits. No new recruits, but back in the studio, boys. Sam and Quaker, how are we, lads? We good?
All good, man. I haven't been here in a while, so it feels good.
Well, all right, I'll start with that because a week is a long time in football. We've said that a couple of times, but the last week, the last 10 days, the last 21 days, in fact, last 3 or 4 weeks have been frantic here at Chelsea.
Yeah.
A lot of new additions, a lot of excitement, a lot of optimism coming into last week with the new players. Now we've seen they've had a week to kind of bed in and all that sort of furore the transfer window's done. What are you expecting today? Are you excited? How are you feeling about it?
I think, like you said, just new energy, and we've been through a lot in the last month, six weeks, and you know every Chelsea fan have gone through the emotions of the highs and the lows. You know, we've been excited. Obviously, the 0-0 draw wasn't the greatest result, but there was a few signs where you could say, you know what, I'm excited about seeing this player. We saw Felix in the other fixture, excited about seeing him, and the fact that he's going to be available today. It's like, yeah, we're going to be able to build from something. So yeah, man, it's a big game to do it.
I'm excited for it as well, Kwaku, because I think we've had a chat beforehand, we've been talking about it, and I suppose there's a level of optimism, but there's also, I think now I'm getting a little bit more rational about it. It's probably not the worst result in the world to start with a 0-0, because if you go out and beat Fulham 3 or 4, and I know I'm asking a big ask there, but all of a sudden you think we're going to win the boat race, we're going to win the World Cup, we're going to win the lot.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely an element of patience. It's going to take time. It's going to be a progression that we're going to see. Is that what Chelsea fans are excited about? The fact that we know we're on the journey. It's going to be a long road, but we started.
100%. And the transfer window is an exciting one for all Chelsea fans. We've got a lot of new toys that came in, and thank goodness that we're seeing a lot of them play today. And you can kind of win the transfer window, but then it has to translate to results on the pitch. And I think the result against Fulham kind of tempered expectations. We now know that games are must-wins if we want to kind of challenge for those top 4 spaces. So it's an interesting one against West Ham away from home. It's been a place where we've had mixed results. Last season, unfortunately, we didn't pick up the 3 points, but again, I'm just excited to see good football and patterns of play. That's what I want to see from Chelsea between now and the end of the season. And the results are the results. We finished where we finished. But as long as I see progression in terms of the way we're playing, some understanding between key players, then that's all you can really hope for as a football fan, and hope that the results follow that. So excited. I know that the Fulham result was not what we wanted, especially with these new signings. There was so much anticipation. But I expect us to put in a good showing tonight or today.
I think autocorrect now puts my phone next. When you put excited, it puts Enzo Fernandez in. Genuinely, I cannot tell you the level of excitement that I have felt about a footballer for a long time, because all of these tweets I think are bang on, right? Really enjoyed his demeanour in his debut. He took it within his stride. Yeah. He's a young player. We talk about that quite a lot. Young player at the World Cup, you know, the best young player, World Cup winner. He's got the world at his feet, quite literally. But there is also an element of, we don't know what he's capable of yet, Sam. And I think that's the excitement, because we've seen the heights he's already hit. That's not his ceiling.
Yeah, there was a big expectation for him to come in to this squad, and obviously you saw Jorginho leave, and it's like you have to almost replace him and be better in a sense. And I think that is tough on any player, but to be that young and let's be honest, we haven't seen that much football from him before that moment. But for him to step up, and I know everyone has watched every compilation from every angle in that game, because he was genuinely incredible. It's like you're seeing a player come into a team, he doesn't know that many players, probably doesn't understand certain patterns of play because he only had, I think, 1 and a half training sessions, and then he comes in, he's so influent, and it's like, okay, like, this is just the start. Like, he's going to be better. That's what's exciting, like you said. So, yeah, I'm excited to see more games. And
also, Quaker, there's the element of when you bring in a younger player, you're looking at potentially a player that's going to wear Chelsea blue for the best part of a decade. Mm-hmm. And especially in football in general, the turnover can be so quick for a lot of footballers. When you know that a footballer is going to be here for the long term, you invest a little bit more, I think, as well. You know, it's not a short-term deal where you're pleasantly surprised. It's a player that you go, no, I'm buying into him from day one because I know that you are going to be a big part of my football club for the foreseeable future. That's the exciting element as well, I think.
100%. And I saw the tweet from Grown Tycoon saying, right, Enzo Fernandez is that guy. And he looks like that guy. Obviously, you have that rub from the World Cup, and he's a World Cup winner, and that comes with more expectation. But the fact that he was thrown in, and we've done this quite often, we did it with João Felix, in terms of just throwing players straight in, there's no kind of warm-up period, you just get thrown into your first game, and he performs so well, and he looks so comfortable at the level, considering he's not had that much time at the highest level of European football, only half a season at Benfica, and then we snapped him up. It bodes well for his time at Stamford Bridge, and like you say, we hope he's here for a long time. He's got a long contract, it's a big transfer fee, and just seeing him play, and I think slightly out of position, against Fulham. He played as a number 6, picking the ball up off of the centre-backs. And we saw him spraying, dictating the tempo of the play. He's a special player. And I think there's even more to come. And when we get players back fit and there's the right type of players around him and he understands the system, we're going to see the best from Enzo Fernandez. I think he's a very, very special player. And there's no reason why he can't go on to achieve the biggest things that this football Greatness.
And also, it's a tiny thing because it'll come across players like this quite a lot. But you look at your first Premier League start at Stamford Bridge, one of the midfielders that you're squaring up against 5 yards apart is João Palhinha, who's been sensational for Fulham, but 6'3", leaves his foot in, very physical, doesn't give you time on the ball. Enzo Fernandez is going to have a lot easier afternoon's work than he did against Fulham for his first game. And even the little snippets and the little clips you see, the little clip ball over the top for Kai Havertz, like you said, that's patterns of play that he's picking up within 24, 48 hours of being a Chelsea footballer. Yeah. When you've got a game where he can actually bed in and settle and learn things around him a lot more, and all of a sudden he's ingrained in everything that's going forward, you're going to see the best out of him. There has to be a level of patience, and I know that we as Chelsea fans are a part of the problem, that you go, I'm so excited he's here, let's go, he's going to be great immediately. He will be, but he's going to be even better if you give him time. Yeah,
there's got to be a level of patience with the whole squad, to be honest, even with the whole system, because we know we brought in a lot of players, we had a new manager, new owners, everything has changed so drastically. But with a player like him, like you said, there's expectation of you being so good now, and I think he's lived up to those expectations because he's a quality player, and he didn't shy away from those battles. He was playing a position, like Koku said, I don't know if that's like his perfect role, but he played that role perfectly. Do you know what I mean? And the thing I love about him is that he's a quick thinker. Every time he got on the ball, you could tell that he knew what he was going to do next. And those type of things gives a Chelsea fan ease and peace of mind, knowing, okay, cool, we've got a central midfielder that is always thinking of one going forward, and when we're in trouble, he's going to be there to clean up. He does both jobs so well. So, yeah, it's really exciting to have a player like him. Obviously, we all know the storyline around it, the price tag, everything, but he's going to be amazing for Chelsea.
And also, another thing to say, it doesn't get easier for him because he's got Declan Rice to come up against today in the centre of midfield for West Ham. But so you may not see the best out of him immediately because he's got to feel that way into it. But you look at Dortmund away in midweek, and then you look at Southampton next weekend. These are the sort of fixtures that you learn a lot more from than you do on the training pitch. Isn't that right? And you've got to get acclimatised to the Premier League. It's a difficult league to come into.
100%. And that's where it calls on the players around him who are more familiar with this league and this level of football to help him along, because he's a fulcrum. He's going to be that superstar midfield for years to come. But today he's playing alongside Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who understands what it's like to play at this level. He has to help him along in the game. There's going to be periods in the game where the game's moving so fast around him. And like you say, he's up against Declan Rice, who's one of the best centre midfielders in the country at the moment. Ruben's going to have to help him out a lot. But there's no reason why, with how Potter's built this team and how we've gone about business and the kind of little sparks that I saw against Fulham last week, why he can't settle in quickly and why he can't go on to achieve great things. I'm so excited. I'm trying to temper my expectation. I'm trying to bring it down a little bit. But like you say, the amount of comps I've watched on YouTube, Enzo Fernandez, of just that Fulham game as well, it's crazy. And every angle, every pass, every confrontation he got into, he's got that dog in him. He's got that dog in him, which I think we like as Chelsea fans. When you're standing in the tunnel, you're looking across and you're seeing Enzo Fernandez, you know there's not going to be an easy afternoon. And that's what I love, and that's what I think Chelsea fans love as well. He can stick a foot in. And what we lost with Jorginho is that element in terms of controlling the game. Georgie's an incredible servant for Chelsea. But what he did do was scan. Enzo scans constantly. He's always looking around. He's an intelligent midfielder. He's also combative. I love him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely all buying in 100%. Wherever you are watching today, don't forget to get involved. We've got a great little thing going with our sponsors, Trivago, which is the Wherever You Go wall. So wherever you are watching in the world, send us a selfie, send us a little message, send us a picture on Twitter using the hashtag Wherever You Go. Looking forward to seeing those wherever you are. We've seen loads in the last few weeks actually from really cool places. So yeah, wherever you're watching today, get us involved and let us know. Right, in a minute, boys, I'm going to send you out to try and find some Chelsea and West Ham links around Stamford Bridge. There's a couple that I've seen you scanning for already. I've also got the brilliant Elizabeth Helenek going to be joining us on the show. Right now, though, there's been some more contract news this week. Brilliantly, a new Chelsea extension for Zakira Musovic.
People said find a real hobby. People said it would be a short-lived hobby. It's just a phase. You can't do this as a job. Girls can't play football. I said dream big. My goal is so clear. It's not what people expect, but I saw it coming. Hard work, determination, working hard for this team, my team. And the best part, I'm just getting started.
Absolutely delighted. Zakira Musovic's new Chelsea deal, extending her stay. She's been fantastic in recent weeks for Chelsea in the WSL. So looking forward to how many trophies she can collect in the next few years. Right then, joined on the show this afternoon by the brilliant Elizabeth Helenek. Elizabeth, how are you?
Joe, I'm doing good. My husband and I just adopted a puppy last weekend. So if you hear him, I'm really sorry.
Not at all. Not at all. Can you... I'm going to ask you for an exclusive here. Is he named after a Chelsea player?
I tried so hard. I tried Reese, I tried Enzo, I tried Aspie, Kai, Mason. My husband asked all of them, so his name is Archie.
Archie's a great name. Well, a new Chelsea fan anywhere in the world is fantastic news. So congratulations to you both. I want to talk to you about not a new addition to the Chelsea family, someone that is very much a part of it already and thankfully is here to stay. Thiago Silva has signed the new Chelsea deal. Every Chelsea fan on the planet is smiling from ear to ear. How delighted are we that he's staying for longer?
So happy. I think that he's one of, if not the best players on the pitch consistently week in, week out. The fact that he's still doing this while being 38 years old, I want to know what his secret is. And he tweeted he initially signed for Chelsea for just a one-year contract. This is now his 4th year. So it just goes to show you, if you put in the performances week in, week out, you know, good things can happen. And honestly, he's just a brick wall at the back of our defense. He reads the game so brilliantly. He sniffs out all of the danger, and he just knows what the other players are going to do, and he's able to take advantage of that kind of sixth sense that he has. And I think especially partnering with Badiashile in the defense has been brilliant, and we're seeing that he's come straight into it. So I think honestly a great leader in the team, a solid rock in defense. It's only a positive. I'm so happy about it.
could not agree more. And I think there's one or two tweets actually that's echoing those thoughts, because every Chelsea fan has had their say on the fantastic news that Thiago Silva has extended his stay at Chelsea. Let's have a look at some of the best social interaction from the week where people are talking about it. This is a nice one actually. Great news, having Thiago around is huge, which means a lot for the new project the young lads can learn from. He is always willing to give his best for Chelsea Football Club. I'm so happy having such a character in the team. It's a really good tweet. That's a really good point about his character as well. I love this man, best centre-back in the league. Absolutely. Shout it from the rooftops. You're bang on. We've got the best centre-back in the league for another season. Absolutely right, Jake. Yeah, he's been sensational again every single game. Thiago Silva is a legend and will live in the heart for many, many years. He absolutely will. I think that's a really good point. And you mentioned it there, Elizabeth, about him signing initially for a one-year deal. When he came over under Frank Lampard, everyone talked about how brilliant it was that he got him in. And it was kind of, like you said, it was almost, people thought he was going to play a bit part role. He was going to be more of a leader in the dressing room and help the younger players come along. My favourite thing about Thiago Silva is every time you look at him, you think, he can't do that again. He can't do that again. Because his level of performance is like N'Golo Kanté was when he was at the absolute peak of his powers. He's a 9 out of 10 every single week. That consistency at this top level doesn't happen. And he keeps doing it year after year, game after game. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think another thing to add is that at least my expectation for him when he came in was, okay, he's going to be a bit rotational. He's not going to be able to play every single game because he's a bit older, but he's come in and he's playing 2-3 times a week. Like, he's hardly rotated because he's so integral to the squad and he's putting out those 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performances week in, week out. So I think that also speaks to just how incredibly brilliant he is.
I think if you're picking a Chelsea team, this is the difficulty, because you could go through 1 to 11 and I think you could speak to 3 or 4 Chelsea fans all sat in a room round a table together. They'd have completely different 11s. Probably the only player that starts in everyone's team immediately is Thiago Silva, because he's never injured, he's always fit, he's always available, and no matter what system you play, Thiago Silva can play in that system and play brilliantly.
Exactly, because when we were playing in a back 3/5, people were saying, oh, maybe he's going to get a bit exposed if we play with 2 center backs. Well, we've switched to a back 4 now, and he hasn't. He still put in those brilliant performances. So I think, yeah, I agree. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. He's absolutely brilliant. I want to know what his secret is, honestly. He's 38. He's in better shape than me. I can only hope to be in like a 10th of the shape that he's in 10 years.
He is sensational. He really, really is. And you mentioned it as well a little bit earlier, but that's a really important point about his influence on not just the players within the dressing room, but we say it all the time with Cesar Azpilicueta as well, about building the culture of the football club. And for players that are coming in, younger players that are coming in with Noni Madueke recently, and Enzo Fernandez, Mikhailo Mudryk, Joao Felix even, players that have come in midway through a season, it's so important to have someone that you can look at and that will help you sort of integrate into the team, but integrate into the culture of living in London as well. And again, Thiago Silva seems like the kind of person that does all his brilliant work on the pitch and then continues that brilliant work in the dressing room and off the pitch and to the people around him. His family is settled in the area as well. He just seems to be the perfect role model for players that are coming in to look at.
Yep, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. He's just the utmost professional on the pitch and off the pitch. And I think now that the squad is built around a lot of younger players, they're all going to be looking up to him because he's accomplished basically everything. And he is one of the best players in the world still, in my opinion. So I think that he's had such a good influence on the pitch, in the dressing room, helping to shape the youngsters as well. And not only defenders, like you said, helping to shape the entire team. So I am absolutely buzzing that we get to still see Thiago Silva for a year. Bella Silva as well, Chelsea's #1 fan. I absolutely love what she does for the fan base. And just, it was an incredible buy by Chelsea.
Absolutely. And yeah, if you can book this chat in next year, Elizabeth, and we'll have the same chat when he's signed another year extension, and we'll just keep going years and years and years, because the longer he's here, the happier we'll all be. He's a phenomenal talent. We're delighted to have him. Elizabeth's going to stay with us, but right now let's cross over outside. I think Kwaku and Sam have found 1 or 2 Chelsea and West Ham links for us. Over to you, boys.
So me and Kwaku are here at the Shed Wall ahead of a big game against West Ham away, obviously, because it's very quiet down here. How are you feeling for today's game?
I'm fairly confident, excited. We've got a lot of new toys that are going to be on display. So yeah, Joao Felix back on the side as well. So I'm very, very excited.
Okay, so we're here at the Shed Wall, like I mentioned, and we wanted to go through a few players that have played for Chelsea and West Ham, and where better to start than this man right here, Frank Lampard, 648 appearances, 211 goals. He won everything at the club, Kweku. Obviously, there was a big interview that he'd done with his uncle, Harry Redknapp, when he was playing at West Ham. I think that's probably one of the most iconic interviews ever. Went on to become one of the greatest midfielders. Did you expect that, or could anyone?
I don't think anyone could. Then what was it that Harry Redknapp brought up Scotty Canham, or the fan brought up Scotty Canham at the AGM, and Frank Lampard's obviously gone on to achieve incredible things. No love lost between him and West Ham fans, left in acrimonious circumstances, but went on to become a Chelsea legend, scored some important goals for us, scored goals in Champions League finals, was actually the captain in 2012 when we lifted the Champions League for the first time. A true legend, and probably the Chelsea's greatest ever player.
The thing is, there's always those moments with West Ham and Chelsea. We've got big games. Obviously, the last game that we played over there, we had lost, but then they came over here. This season, there are a few circumstances that West Ham fans probably wouldn't want to hear, but we got the win, so this game is going to mean a lot. We're about to head to another player that actually didn't feature for their first team. He was in their academy, then he came over here, became one of our best centre-backs ever, and that is John Terry. What have you got to say?
The best centre-back this club's ever produced. John Terry was a beacon of light when it comes to academy graduates. Obviously, we're going through a spell now where we're seeing Mason, we're seeing Reece James, we're seeing some Cobham Cubs really establish themselves in the first team. But John Terry was that standard bearer, and he won everything. John Terry's won everything. He's a true legend in the game. And again, a player that West Ham maybe produced from a young age, but went on to become a Chelsea legend.
There's a few honourable shout-outs as well. Carlton Cole. Played for West Ham and played for Chelsea, bagged a few goals for both teams. Are you thinking of anyone else?
I've got to give my mate a mention, Scott Minto, left back for Chelsea and West Ham. Great servant for both clubs. Unlike Frank, he's got a good rapport with both for West Ham and Chelsea fans. And yeah, just a true kind of workhorse and done his job, and fans remember him well, especially Chelsea fans.
There's one man that we cannot forget, and that is, of course, Joe Cole. A great player for both clubs, to be fair, but Chelsea fans remember him. Tricky player, very tricky. What do you think about him?
Oh, Joe Cole's one of my favourite ever Chelsea players. When I'll do my Chelsea all-time 11, it's Eden Hazard on the left and Joe Cole on the right. Joe Cole is an absolute legend, and especially that 04-05 and 05-06 seasons, he was an integral member of that squad. We remember the goal he scored against Manchester United to secure us the league. And he's just one of these players that just puts a smile on your face. He's just a true footballer, true baller, and I love Joe Cole.
Definitely. And then we've got this man, who actually was one of our greatest players ever, Gianfranco Zola, 312 appearances, 80 goals, an electric player, but he managed West Ham.
He did, pound for pound, the nicest man in football. My personal favourite Chelsea player ever. He's the man that made me fall in love with football, Gianfranco Zola. I remember when he was West Ham manager and he unfortunately got the sack, and you saw the press outside his house and he came and brought them cups of tea. That tells you what kind of guy that man is, and he gave us some incredible moments as a Chelsea player, and at West Ham didn't work out for him, but we'll always remember him as a true blue-grey.
Great players that played for both clubs. Hopefully they're all rooting for the Blues because we need the win today.
What does it mean to take the lead? Let's discuss some hard truths. Racism isn't a comfortable conversation. But racism has a wrong way. Racism is a real problem. It's societal. It's blatant prejudice. It's more than just social media abuse. It's certainly bigger than football. And this here is much more than just a gesture. It's about recognising reality and demanding change. It's a symbol of pride and identity, pride in using our platform to change. That's what it means for players to take the lead. So if you're a supporter, support this.
Wherever we go, Trivago is with us, and now they bring us to the London Stadium to follow the warm-up of the Blues for our match against West Ham United. Well, the Chelsea players just about to continue their warm-up ahead of this game, looking to find a goal might only take one to win this match against the West Ham side, who are not exactly prolific themselves. The Hammers starting the day just a point above the relegation zone. Chelsea in 9th position. They would go 8th with a win and level on points with Brentford, who are 7th. All about the London teams for the Blues at the moment, isn't it? As Enzo Fernandez gets ready to make his second appearance. I was going to say in Chelsea blue, in Chelsea gold would be more accurate. Chelsea wearing their 3rd strip today, a ground where they've had mixed results in recent seasons. Jason Cundy's alongside me for commentary of this one. Jason, we were just talking, weren't we, off air? You always find yourself getting confident of a win around about this kind of time of day. Are you feeling the same again this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, do you know what? As I get closer to the game, look, we don't look like conceding at the moment. We're in good form defensively, but I have to say, going forward, we've got to do more going forward. The goals, if you look at the goals scored tally, it's well below. In fact, substandard of what we used to at Chelsea. And look, there's been a number of reasons for that. Clearly, the injuries have hampered Potter. There's been a lot of change at the football club, but we're starting to get to that area now, Matt, where the players have come in, and we're now looking at games like this. So going away at West Ham, remember a couple of seasons ago when Arthur Masuaku just shinned one in from about 30 yards from outside the box. And look at that game, we were in total control. Then all of a sudden Mendy gets caught in possession and we go 2-1 up just before half time. And you look at this game and think we're in control, but somehow we managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. This game going into it now, I'm looking at the players that we've got, and we're looking at Enzo right now. There's a lot of players in this squad that can perform, but we're now looking at a squad of players. Can he get a team out of this squad? And that's what Potter's got to do. So yes, you're right. Looking at this game, I come in thinking it feels like a draw, but the closer I get, I'm always the same, Matt. The closer the game comes, I start to feel like we can win this now. And this is a big game for us. They're in decent form, by the way, West Ham at the moment.
Well, that takes us on to the first of our 3 points for 3 points, which is do not underestimate West Ham. They are unbeaten in their last 3, and like many teams, they often raise their game when it comes to matches against Chelsea. You saw them against Newcastle last week, Jason. They don't have much of the ball, do they? But they are, as you would expect from a David Moyes team, well drilled when they don't have possession. So it's going to be up to Chelsea maybe to try and force the issue, even though West Ham are the home team.
Indeed. And look, David Moyes has got a certain style the way that he plays. They're generally tough to beat. But look at their league position, you'll think, well, this should be a game that Chelsea can go on and dominate. Don't underestimate them, because this West Ham side, they beat Everton a couple of weeks ago that ended Frank's reign at the Toffees. They won in the FA Cup. Difficult tie away from home, but they managed to get them nose over there. But I saw them against Newcastle last week. Well drilled. They could have won that game, and that's one of the toughest places to go right now. And they were a match for Newcastle. And I'm going into this now if you go into this game thinking this is going to be, look at the league table, West Ham are a side that are easy meat. Don't think that, because this is a tough side to beat. Defensively, they'll sit deep. They're compact, they're tight, they're well disciplined, but will try and catch you on the counter. We need to be very much aware of that.
Yeah, 68% of their league points this season have come in front of their own supporters, the Hammers. Point number 2, early first-time passes will break West Ham's compact shape. Now, I'm guessing this is going to be the responsibility, well, of everybody, but primarily of Enzo Fernandez and Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Absolutely, yeah. Move that ball quick. Those straight passes you can get in behind. West Ham are going to get their shape, which when they get out of shape, when they attack, that's when we need to move the ball quickly. First-time passes absolutely kill you. If you're a defensively minded side and you're sitting deep, when you're out of shape, if you can move that ball quickly, and the first time pass, Matt, is the one. So that is that ball that when it goes back to you, Enzo, or even into Badia Shill, who I've seen play those balls, zip those balls in. So we look at the shape that we've got. We're looking at playing it into Felix, Mudryk. They're the two. Certainly Kai up top as well. Maduaka as well. You're looking to try and play that ball in quickly, break their shape. If you do that early, what that will do, they'll start to consider whether they attack or not. So if you can do that early, get them thinking defensively, or certainly get them into a mindset of can we break our shape? Can we defensively, we're nice and solid, who breaks from midfield? Those passes are going to be absolutely crucial. If you do it early, Matt, in the early part of the game, it gets them thinking in a different way.
Our third point kind of links into this. It's being wary of being hit on the break. West Ham will give up a lot of possession, as we said. They'll hope to spring a counter. They do have a little bit of pace about their front line, but is that maybe why we think there's going to be a back four for Chelsea today, rather than pushing Reece and Cucurella right up?
Well, we had this conversation. It feels like a back four, but it goes back to the original conversation we just had, what they did at Newcastle. They will sit and they will try and catch Chelsea out of possession. So when there is that transition, that's where there's moments in games, and they always come about. Managers know it's about when those moments come, can we make the most of it? Defensively, we need to be very much aware of that. Don't overcommit at times, certainly early on. That's why going back to that point I was making. Those first-time passes, we can get them in, get them in behind their midfield. That will change the way that they think. But of course, David Moyes, he's a wily old fox. He's been around a number of, we know what David Moyes is all about. He's a brilliant coach. A lot of West Ham fans that I speak to on TalkSport want him out. They don't believe that he's taken them forward. I think there's a turning point in this season. I've seen the last 2 or 3 games of theirs. It feels like they're starting to get their act together, Matt. So we need to be very much aware of that.
Yeah, he's going for his 250th win as a Premier League manager. Only Ferguson and Wenger have achieved that previously. Interesting that, to see the two managers having what looked like a very pleasant conversation 20 minutes or so before kickoff. It's not something that you'd see throughout the Premier League, is it?
No, but these managers go on coaching courses, and they will be friends, or certainly acquaintances that they've. You can see them now. They're just mixing and laughing and joking. They'd have done coaching courses. They'd have been on seminars together. These guys mix in different circles than just on the touchline on match days. So they'll know one another. They'll respect one another. But of course, the smiles will disappear in around about 20 minutes' time.
Graham looks nice and relaxed and confident, maybe because he's never lost a Premier League game to West Ham, and he's actually already won here at this ground with Brighton this season. Is that a thing? He's not going to be thinking that that's going to have any relevance to today's game, surely, but I guess it just puts a little bit of extra pep in his step, thinking, oh yeah, I've been here before, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think he'll lean on that. I think he'll look back at that result. How did things go? What did we do well? What did we not do so well? How can I improve on what we did there before? Of course, this is a totally different animal. Brighton to Chelsea is completely different. But he will come here, and David Moyes will know that as well, Matt. That they'll look back. It's amazing how you look back on games and how did that go? Who played well? Sometimes teams have picked on players that do well in certain games at certain stadiums, and David Moyes will know, and so will Potter, that actually he got the better of him last time. He'll be doing something different.
Well, maybe one of the reasons Graham Potter is looking confident and relaxed is that he's got Enzo Fernandez to bolster his midfield today. Let's have a look at how he got on against Fulham. Would have been easy, wouldn't it, Jace, for him to be overawed by the occasion, the fee, etc., but not a bit of it. He looked every inch the player who's just won the World Cup and been voted the best young player at said tournament. Yeah,
a lot of pressure on him, and he came in very relaxed. I love the way that he moved the ball quickly. One until we'll have a look in a second. But I'm talking about those passes, those straight passes, those balls into feet, trying to break the lines. He does that. Look at the bottom two there. Passes in the final third. When you often see statistics about passes, about where they happen, sometimes you can look at those and it doesn't really give you a fair reflection on where the ball is. Passes completed doesn't mean anything. You can pass the ball to your back 3 or 4. Goalkeeper, what you're looking for, balls in to feet and they're progressive passes. Have a look at these now. These are the sort of passes that we're looking for. This one here, out to Reece. It's a brilliant ball. Stretching the defence again, looking forward again. Every pass he looks for is going forward. Progressive player, not sitting deep. Look at the play. Sorry, when he sits deep, he's always looking forward. Again, wins that duel. First thing, can I go forward? It's a lovely ball into Ziyech on that occasion. Again, looking up. He's like that quarterback. He's like that third centre half, if you like. Again, look at his head, straight up. Players of his quality will always have a picture in their mind about where the ball's going before it comes into them. And desperately unlucky on that occasion. Just drifts past the post. Maybe the keeper would have got it if it was on target. Defensively, closing down, doing his job that side. Very impressed with the first performance that we saw, and as you said there, Matt, voted the young player in the World Cup. Look at this pass here, breaking those lines. West, you look at what Fulham done there. Fulham were well coached, really well disciplined. Marcus Silva's got a really exciting team in there, but he's coached them well. But I thought that Enzo's performance in his first game, under a huge amount of pressure for that big fee, was exceptional on the day.
Is that maybe, finally, the key area in this game? You've got Fernandes, the most expensive player in British football history, Ruben alongside him, who hasn't kicked a ball in anger competitively since November, and then opposite them, Declan Rice, we know how good he is and what this game means to him, and Lucas Paquetá, who's come into a bit of form of late.
Into form. Yes, you're absolutely right. Look, you often talk about if you win the midfield battle, you go a long way to winning the game, but sometimes that can be true. Look, Declan's a brilliant young player. We've waxed lyrical many times, not just you and me, but people up and down the country about how good this young boy is. But Enzo's he's the one now in this team that I feel can give us that momentum to go forward. Jorginho done very well for us, no question. But it feels like that he's got Jorginho with a little bit of cover in him. You know, can travel with that ball box to box. We saw defensively in those clips there, getting back, defending in our final third, but also having an effect in their final third as well. But look, let's hope that they had the most passes in the game against Fulham, most touches on the ball. If that continues, then hopefully we should go on and be successful today.
All right, we'll kick off not too far away at the London Stadium now. Jason and I will be back with live commentary soon. But before then, let's hear from Graham Potter. We caught up with the Chelsea boss ahead of the game.
Yeah. Well, the January window brings new faces, and we've also been fortunate that we've had some players coming back from injury. So that, brings a freshness, it brings a dynamism to the training, to the environment. New faces, new bloods. It's exciting. At the same time, it's getting to know everybody, to understand how they can help, and to make sure that our environment's good. Daily, we work well, we stick together, we understand the excitement, but we also understand the challenges as well. And then it's about progressing day by day and step by step. And I must say we've been in a good week's training. It's been a positive week for us, so we're looking forward to the game. Yeah, whenever you've got new players into the team, it's exciting. It's there's a bit about understanding that it's not a straight line in terms of how that looks. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it needs a bit of time, and again it's just about increasing understanding amongst the players. Amongst a lot of players. So as a team and as a group, we're ready to compete in every single game between now and the end of the season. That's the most important thing for us. Yeah, again, when you bring new players in, they have to adapt. They have to adapt to a new team. They have to adapt to a new country often, a new league, sometimes a new continent. So the age of the player can also be a factor. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it needs a bit more time. It's not a straight line. Again, as I said before, it's not an exact science, but ultimately they're people, they're human beings. You have to try and help them develop, help them settle, and enjoy the football ultimately. Yeah, Gilbert's here with us from the All Blacks, and he's working with ourselves and the women's team and the academy. So it's a really interesting couple of weeks we're going to have with him. Just an exchange of ideas. He's going to talk about culture and environment and leadership. So. Fascinating to get his perspective from a different sport, but at the same time it's a high performance environment as well. So really enjoying having him here and having a conversation with him. It was something that the club sort of introduced to us in terms of working with him, and it's a fantastic opportunity for us all. Like I said, to share ideas, to see what the crossovers are between the two sports, to exchange notes, I guess, because he's experienced 25 years, I think, pretty much of the All Blacks. So there's a lot of success there. There's also a lot of pain as well on the way. So it's nice to have the conversation. Well, the game against West Ham is always tough. It's always challenging. You've got David Moyes' sides are always organised, always competitive. They defend well, they attack well, strong at set pieces, and then you've got the London derby and all that brings the intensity of the supporters and the occasion. So we need to match that. But the boys are looking forward to it. We're excited, and we're going to go there and give it our all.
The brilliant Graham Potter speaking ahead of Chelsea versus West Ham this afternoon in the Premier League. Still with Elizabeth, Sam and Craig, who have made their way back into the studio as well. Good work out there, boys. Let's get straight to shoot pass, clear then, shall we? Okay, 3 scenarios. Shoot being the most likely scenario to happen. Pass being the one might happen, might not happen. And clear, the thing that you're least confident about happening today. So these are your 3 scenarios. Both Chelsea teams to beat West Ham at the moment. The under-18s in the under-18s Premier League are currently 1-1. But West Ham have won 12 from 12 coming into this game in the under-18s Premier League. They've been brilliant. So that's, okay, that's one. 3 or more goals in total. Okay, between both teams. English player to score, and again, I think we're taking into consideration Jarrod Bowen's obviously playing for West Ham, Declan Rice playing for West Ham. So there's a few in the lineup. So, okay, let's start with Elizabeth. What are you saying then? What are you going to go with?
Oh, why are you starting me, Joe?
Shoot, pass, clear. What are you shooting on?
Okay, what am I shooting on? I am going to shoot on both Chelsea teams beating West Ham, and also Chelsea women beat West Ham 7-0 yesterday. So 3 teams beating Chelsea.
Yeah. We'll take that one early. Yeah, good point. We'll take that one early.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be my shoot.
Okay, perfect. Right. Sam, what are you thinking on it? I'll tell you what, hold on to that. Hold on, because I've got your 3 in a second. Okay, Elizabeth, what are you going to pass on then?
Okay. So shoot, I always get pass and clear confused. Okay, I'm going to pass on scoring more than 3 goals in total. Why? Because Chelsea have been keeping clean sheets. So I'm hoping that we can keep another clean sheet today. But we haven't been scoring so many goals. I'm predicting a 2-0. So I don't know if we'll get to the 3. So it could happen. I hope that it happens. I would love for it to happen. But that's going to be my pass. Instead, I'm going to clear an English player scoring because we have a lot of new players in the team. Mudryk is starting. Joao Felix is finally starting again after serving his suspension. Enzo has a great foot on him as well. So I am hoping that maybe one of those newbies scores today.
Perfect work. Okay, Sam, let's see what you've gone for then. Okay, so what are you going to go for? What are you shooting on first, mate?
I think I've actually gone quite similar to Elizabeth, to be fair. I think my shooting was both teams to English player to score. It was an English player to score.
Nice.
Obviously, this was before the lineup came out, but at the same time,
Reece James always a threat.
Reece James always a threat. Noni as well. We've got a few players on the bench that could come on and make a difference like they have, and May scored an incredible goal last season against West Ham that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. Pass is both Chelsea teams to beat West Ham. I think that is very possible. Obviously, it's 1-1 right now, but we could get that win, and I think I'm feeling good today, so we can get that win. And then clear, I'm with Elizabeth. We haven't scored that many goals. 2-0, I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to allow it as well. Quaker's already locked his in, and I'm going to give some, well, not good news, but West Ham are 2-0 out in the underrated.
Knew you were going to say that.
Let's have a look at yours then, Quaker, shall we?
Game's not done.
The game's not done. Game's not done.
Game's not done.
Whenever we do this game and there's an option in terms of a Chelsea win, I'm going to go for that. So my shoot is both Chelsea teams to win. Like Elizabeth pointed out, the Chelsea women's team won the other day, and I expect us to win today. I expect the under-18s to make a comeback.
I've been told, actually, it's 2-1 the other way.
Oh, so Chelsea
are 2-1 up.
Guessing out that.
Still time to play, but we'll take it.
There we go. So that's my shoot.
Nice.
Pass, English player to score. I think we're looking at both teams as well. Like you said, Jarrod Bowen is a threat for West Ham, and so is Declan Rice. Hopefully they don't score. And then for us, we've got Noni. Who counts? We've got obviously Mason off the bench. Who else we got?
Reece James.
We've got Reece James, Ruben as well. So we've got a lot of options in terms of players that can score, English players that can score for Chelsea. And then my clear is 3 or more goals. We've not been prolific. and I expect us to win today, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game. West Ham are not necessarily the most prolific side either. So that's my clear.
Good work. So yeah, shoot the most likely to happen. Clear, not going to happen. Pass, could happen. Might not happen. We'll see how the guys get on a little bit later on. Right, time to move on to the trivia. Okay, here we go. This is the difficult part.
I thought you was missing out this week.
No, again. Let's have a look at the question then. Let's go straight into it. See what the question is for today. Any help, please do get involved. Emerson and Kurt Zouma joined West Ham last season, but who was the last player to join us from West Ham?
Doable.
Wow, okay. So, I mean, again, there's been plenty down the road, as you've pointed out. Joe Cole, Glenn Johnson, were Scott Parker. Did he come from? No, I think he came from Charlton.
He came from Charlton.
He came from Charlton.
Yeah, he played for West Ham later.
It's quite a while, you know. I'm thinking it could be quite a while.
It could go far
back. There could be a rogue one. Elizabeth, have you got any ideas?
Joe, you know I never have ideas.
That's not true. That's not true. You've got great knowledge, But this is the tough one. This is one as well, because we've already mentioned there's so many players that have played for both. It's not like a really difficult team where you go, oh, only one player jumps to mind. There's so many players that jump to your mind when you think Chelsea, West Ham. And also, it's usually they go
the other way.
Yeah. So, any idea?
Exactly.
Oh, no, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Can you come back to us on this one?
Yeah, we've got a little while.
Yeah.
We've got a little while to think about it. We've got until half-time to think about it. Again, if you do know who it is...
Just slide, come in the DMs, man. I'll give you a shout-out, 100%. I'll give you a shout-out. If you've got the correct answer, message me, and you can take my place.
Let's have a little chat then about today's deal, because it's gonna be important. First, we need to see where people are checking in from all across the world with the Wherever You Go wall. If you've been sending yours in, make sure you use that hashtag Wherever You Go with our friends from Trivago. Nice one. Already a couple seeing it, cheering from Africa today. Yes, start Datro. I'm hoping Fofana will come on at some point as well. Some lovely pictures coming in as well. So, yeah, if you've got your selfie, please do get them involved using that hashtag Wherever You Go. Wherever you are in the world, it's an early kickoff as well. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to log in. I mean, Elizabeth knows only too well. We've asked her to get up from goodness knows what time when you've been in New York before for this one. So, Elizabeth, very quickly before we jump to the warm-up, I'm going to ask you, what's your prediction for today? You said 2-0 a little bit earlier on. Are you sticking with 2-0? And who do you think's the difference?
I did. Okay, so I'm sticking with 2-0. We've kept a couple of clean sheets in a row now, so I do think we're going to keep a clean sheet. And we really have a lot of firepower in the squad today. I'm absolutely buzzing to finally see Joao Felix back in the team, because I thought that he had a really good debut in the time that he was on the pitch. Enzo Fernandez, I think that link up could be interesting. We saw Joao and Kai link up when they played for Fulham, Mudryk. There's just so much going on. Who's going to be the difference? I'm going to say Joao Felix. I have a really good feeling about him today.
Joao Felix, like that. One word each then, boys. Player that makes a difference.
Mudryk.
Enzo.
Enzo, love that. Love that. Again, so many players to pick from. Absolutely buzzing for it. Right, thank you very much for your company. Right, make sure you stick around, because up next, Chelsea versus West Ham at the London Stadium. Your commentary team is Jason Cundy and Matt Davies-Adams.
Thanks, Joe. Afternoon, everybody. We are just about ready for commentary then from the London Stadium. It is West Ham United versus Chelsea in the Premier League. Let's run you through the teams if you were late joining us. West Ham unchanged from their game against Newcastle last week. Lucas Fabianski is their goalkeeper. Back three of Thilo Kehrer, who's passed a fitness test to play, Angelo Ogbonna and Neef Aguerd. Then it's Vladimir Sofal and Emerson as the two wing-backs. Declan Rice, the skipper, and Lucas Paquetá in midfield, with Jared Bowen, Michail Antonio and Said Benrahma as their front three.